Alrighty, this is the setup video for the JailBot Discord bot. Before we get started, I would recommend that you enable administrator permissions for JailBot. It's not a requirement, and JailBot can be used in its entirety without needing admin. However, enabling it does make the setup and general user experience a little bit easier. If you don't know what JailBot does, here's a great quote from a user that sums it up well. It's essentially a easy way to handle disruptive users that restricts them to a single category, gives them a chance to appeal, and manages everything within an automated release system. Here's a brief example of what the inmates can see after you've jailed them. We have an integrated ticketing system that they can create a dispute ticket and discuss with jail mods why they've been jailed. So if we go ahead and do that, you'll see it's created the channel, and they have the reason why they were jailed given by the jail mod when the jail command is run. They have when they'll be released, and we also have administrative controls for jail mods that they can easily use through these buttons. And of course, if I try and click it now, it won't work because I am the jail inmate. To get started with setup, we'll navigate to the top.gg link I provided in the video description. You'll hit the invite button, select your server in the drop-down menu, hit continue, and then authorize. We can see that it's joined and created a staff commands, jail logs, and create dispute ticket channel, all within the jail category. It also created a closed jail tickets category, which is where closed dispute tickets will go when the inmate has been released or the ticket is manually closed by a jail mod. It's also created two roles, jail inmate and jail mod. The inmate role will be assigned to the users you're jailing. The jail mod role can be given to anyone that you want to be able to moderate the jail. This includes allowing them to run the /jail and /release commands, along with being able to see and handle the dispute tickets that inmates create. Next, head over to the conveniently created staff commands channel, and we're going to run the /setup command. This is going to go through everything we need to configure after adding it to our server for the first time. If you haven't given JailBot administrator permissions, you'll likely see a message like this. This happens because JailBot doesn't have permissions to manage the private categories and channels that are listed here. To resolve this, you can either give JailBot the administrator permission, run the setup command again, then remove the administrator permission, or you can resolve it manually. To resolve this manually, you'll have to follow these steps for each category and channel that is listed here. First, go to the private category or channel, edit, permissions, and then to the right of roles/members, hit the plus symbol, scroll down and find the jail inmate role, and then set the view channels permission to deny, and make sure you save your changes. Go ahead and repeat this for any of the chats or categories that it has listed in the message here. Now that we've finished that step, if we go back to the staff commands channel and run the setup command again, you'll see that we do not get that message. First thing we'll have to configure is the time zone. Click yes to show a decent amount of time zones and give them a second to load in. Once this has populated, go ahead and enter the number in the chat that corresponds to the time zone you want to use. Mine's right at the bottom here, so I'll just be entering 583. After that, we'll want to enable jail notifications for the rest of the server to see. This will show informational messages to the general server audience that lets them know that someone was jailed or released. Feel free to leave this disabled if you want. I'm going to go ahead and enable this. It's going to ask where you want the notifications to be sent to. I'm going to be sending this to main chat so that people can see it. Jail voting can optionally be enabled as well, which allows regular server members with no elevated permissions to be able to start community votes to jail another member. Only server administrators can enable or disable this, and you can specify how many votes are required to pass and the member to be jailed. I'm going to go ahead and enable this, so I'm going to hit yes. It's going to ask for the channel that it wants to send jail votes to. I'm going to go to main chat with that. Number of votes required to jail a member, I'm just going to enter 2 since no one else is in the server besides me. Now I'll have to specify a channel to send admin logs to for audit purposes. This needs to be set before any jailing is done, so I'll hit yes. And then I'll specify we're going to send this to admin logs. It says JailBot doesn't have permissions to send messages in that channel. Please give it permissions and try again. So you'll see this if the admin logs channel that you specified is private. So again, we're just going to go edit channel, permissions. We're going to add JailBot, and we're going to let it view the channel and hit save. Now we're going to mention the main, admin logs channel again. and it successfully took that. JailBot has more advanced but awesome and useful features that can be configured that aren't included in this basic setup command. When you're more comfortable with JailBot, feel free to navigate to our knowledge base where we have guides that walk you through how to use them. And keep in mind, you can always rerun the setup command to get the link or to reconfigure anything we've just gone over. I'm going to hit the finish button here, and then it says we're done. So next things we'll need to do is we're going to need to give the jail mod role to anyone that we want to run the jail or release command. So obviously we're going to assign that to ourselves. So let's go and add the jail mod role to ourselves here. I'm going to show you guys how to use the jail and release commands just briefly, but know that there's also a full separate demo video that I'm going to be making that goes through in depth how to use all of these features and everything that JailBot has to offer. So if you don't see it, just know that it's coming. Now we get to the fun part. Let's use the jail command to jail one of my testing accounts that I have here. We're going to jail it for, let's say 1 day. You can choose any of the options you just saw, including, if we go back, you have forever. If you want to have them jailed until they're manually released using the /release command, they'll stay in there as long as you want. You can also choose the custom option, which allows you to choose the exact amount of months, week, days, hours, minutes, etc. Anonymous jail can be set so that you are not shown as the person who jailed this inmate on the jail logs message. It will still show for the admin logs so that they can see it for audit purposes, but it will hide it from the other jail mods if you enable this option. Create dispute ticket. You can also choose true for this, which means that their dispute ticket will be created immediately, because otherwise the inmate will have to create it themselves after their jail. I'm going to choose 1 day again on this, and then we're going to run it and see what happens. So this is a perfect example of something you might run into. It says that JailBot needs to be higher on the roles list or be assigned a role that is higher than example role A. So if we go to, let's go to main chat. This is the user I'm trying to jail, and you'll see that they have example role A. Let's go to this server's roles list, and you'll see that example role A is higher than JailBot. So we either need to assign this top example role, or we need to move JailBot higher on this list than example role A. So you can either do that or the other one. I'm just going to go ahead and give JailBot the top example role. That way it will be higher or have higher permissions than the role of the user that we're trying to jail. And then if you go back to staff commands, we're going to hit the up arrow to run that same command again. Alright, so the testing account was successfully jailed. You'll see it created the dispute ticket right away, which again has our helpful buttons here that jail mods can use, including release inmate, close ticket, and ban inmate. You've already seen what it looks like on the inmate's end when they're jailed like this, so I won't show you that. However, we can close this ticket. It'll ask you if you're sure, hit yes, and then you'll have some close ticket action buttons such as transcript and delete, which will send a file transcript to the admin logs. That's all for this video since we're just showing the setup, and then again, if you ever need help, we actually do have a help command now. So you can just run that. We have our full video tutorial, which this will be replacing. And we have our support server where you can ask us questions, and we have our knowledge base with written guides, and coming up, we'll have videos for that as well. If you ever need help in our support server, just go there and hit create a ticket.